Here we are in the outskirts of Chambersburg. Downtown's quite a trip. We'll be going to Gettysburg this morning. Ah yes, Chambersburg. A place of fairness and beauty, whose beauty is only eclipsed by its fairness. Now here at Gettysburg, this is a memorial to John Fulton Reynolds, commanding general of the artillery, you said?
No, First Corps.
First Corps. First Corps.
He was shot in the head first day. Right there, probably, most likely.
And now you have overgrown cornfields.
Oh, so the battery stretched from here to there. This is and that's Buford. He's the cavalry under Pleasanton.
This synopsizes Reynolds' service. Just walking up from Meade's headquarters. We'll probably end up doubling back to that area. Yeah, this was rear echelon. You had your orderlies and couriers down there.
That was also a field hospital.
Yeah, field hospital. And then as it states here, the regiment held this position July 3rd until the close of the day, when it conducted 3,000 prisoners, conducted 3,000 prisoners to Westminster, Maryland. Detachments served on other parts of the field during the battle. Yeah, this was the provost guard, basically people in charge of marshaling your captives. Push it. You're saying?
Well, this is right where it turns, the fish hook. So this is north, the fish hook, Culp's Hill, Cemetery Hill, comes down this line, and off in the distance it's Big Round Top. A little round top's right below it, right by that monument, to the left of that monument. And so I think this is the front line here. Up into here.
Yeah.
So we'll see. His name.
You have something to add?
Well, there was a guy in the town that actually came up during the battle, took a rifle and started to fight, and he wasn't even in the Union Army. I think he was like 60 years old.
Hey,
it became a rallying cry for a regiment. I forget
that's a
his
ripe
name.
old age to start start doing some Civil War work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the battlefield behind us, and then when you go to look at today's more commercialized and civilized towns, you got your McDonald's right behind me.
Did you already record this guy?
Yes, yes.
So you have Massachusetts Battery right there. So this is the turn. The fish hook I was talking about. This is the turn. Across the field, if you look at that, I would be willing to bet that's probably a Confederate division or regiment. That white obelisk there. Then you look back here. That's a memorial to the 108th New York Infantry, probably First Corps. That little pillar in the ground there is its right flank, and then if you look here behind the cannon, that's its left flank, and it was faced out in this northwest direction, facing this way. And it's plucked up again by another battery, which I don't know what battery that is, but we can find out. So you have two batteries and then infantry behind it, which is pretty standard.
Nowadays they have the infantry ahead of the guns, and the guns fire high angle. But back in the days of Civil War, Napoleon guns, look at that.
12-pounders. Yeah. So, Second Corps Artillery Brigade.
Lieutenant Woodruff, I know him.
He was mortally wounded on the third day.
No, I know Lieutenant Colonel Woodruff.
Something. another 6 12-pounder guns right here. And this is pretty much this right here is probably your swinging gate. Your
Read the historic marker. This is Abraham Bryan's farm. I see you were doing the Abraham Bryan leaning against his farm all riddled with bullets. This is the pump. They had a well house. A kid was licking on it in the picture, but yeah, he was compensated to the princely sum of $15 from the federal government after his $1,800 some claim. And then he farmed it for rebuilt and farmed for about 4 more years until 1869, and
moved to town.
Then moved to town to work at the hotel, which was most likely a bordello.
I mean, terrain's always going to dictate it. If you look, they're coming from there, and look how high up they are. They train them cannons right there. It's game over.
Yep.
You know.
That's why it halted the advance.
Lee should have never pushed. Uncharacteristic of Lee, but he was sick. He had the angina. So Pettigrew, Pickett, probably that monument in the thing there in the way out. See it on the hill, like in that crop of trees there? There's like a white monument.
Uh-huh.
That's probably Pickett's charge, and he had to charge across this all the way to there. There's one clump of trees. It's probably that tree right there was the Union Center, and they got wiped out. The whole movement was based on that clump of trees, and whether that's it or not. But what happened was the entire last-ditch effort of the Confederacy, they came in, and their orders were to all come to that clump of trees. So as they're moving, they're just fanning right in. They did break the Union line for a second, and then Pickett lost his entire division. And that was the first action Pickett saw.
Yeah.
Because he was held in reserve the whole time.
And didn't Lee give him the orders? A blind, sickly
Yes.
General Lee gave him the orders
Yes.
to take his division.
Correct.
And move it.
Correct. And then when he came back, Lee told him, okay, reform your division, wait for a Union counterattack. And Pickett said, General, what division?
A tearful
Pickett. And he held a grudge against General Lee the rest of his life.
Sure, a lot of
He's
people
the guy
did.
who murdered my division.
Oof.
So the Union must have been pushed this far up, maybe on the second day, and then they started falling back. And if you look back up, perfect position for the Union line.
Yeah.
And had perfect firing positions on them.
Don't get much better.
No.
We're crossing Steinway Avenue, and on the corner of Steinway Avenue and Long Lane is the Ohio tribute for the 8th Ohio Infantry. Part of my unit's lineage, dates back to these times. My illiteracy knows no bounds, so I got to reread this. It's not exactly the easiest thing to read gray on gray. Yeah, the 8th Ohio Infantry under Lieutenant Colonel Franklin Sawyer took this position at 4 p.m. July 2nd. That was the second afternoon of the war, after a brisk skirmish, and held it July 2nd and 3rd during Longstreet's assault. July 3rd, the regiment advanced, and by left wheel attack, the enemy in flank, capturing 3 flags and numerous prisoners.
So what this is saying, I didn't know this. I guess the fields where Pickett's charge was at one time Camp Colt during during World War I for a new tank battalion.
Treat them rough.
Treat them rough.
That was their motto. There's Eisenhower on the left, and when you go up to the museum, he actually has some of his personal effects donated to that museum. They had 3 Renault tanks, new at the time. In 8 months before war's end, as many as 10,000 men passed through Camp Colt. Eisenhower's leadership here earned him the Distinguished Service Medal. Huh. And that's something.
You could literally stay in one section for an entire day and not see everything.
You're right.
It's nuts. I wonder if it's the same, maybe.
4th
Fourth.
Ohio Volunteer Infantry.
Yeah.
A lot of volunteers from Ohio. Ooh, that's dangerous. There. Less dangerous. Now the cable TV is good.
They were just companies. It wasn't even a full regiment.
Yeah.
Just companies.
Companies Gulf and India, 4th Ohio Infantry, 1st Brigade, 3rd Division, 2nd Corps. July 2nd, 1863, second day of the battle. Let's see what they got. At 3 p.m. July 2nd, 1863, while the regiment was lying on Cemetery Ridge.
This is it.
Up there. Yeah, this is basically it. Companies Gulf and India, 4th Ohio Infantry, detached under Captain Peter Grubb. I know a Grubb. Of Company Gulf, advanced to this position. So from there down to here, where with severe loss they engaged the enemy during the remainder of the day. Late in the evening, they were withdrawn to the regiment to the east of Cemetery Hill.
That's back up there.
From there.
So this is like a forward position.
Pro Patria. For country. All right. Explain for the folks at home.
Yeah, so you had 2 companies. There's their right flank, left flank. They were stacked probably 3 or 4 deep, I would say. And they're butted right up against what was that? That was the 8th.
8th Ohio.
But this was only 2 companies. That was a whole regiment. So
Yeah.
they probably had a couple battle lines. But then they withdrew back up to Cemetery Ridge, East Cemetery Ridge.
So they came in right on the right flank at what, 3 p.m. on July 2nd.
Yep.
Plussing up the 8th Ohio to repel Pickett's charge, break their line from coming through the town area,
That's Seminary
and
Ridge.
then push them.
That you're looking at.
Yeah, and then push them where they ended up.
And then during around noon of that same day, they walked over to that KFC.
Yeah.
To get a bite.
Yeah, get an 8-piece dark meat.
It was free too at that time.
Yeah. To vets.
Because it was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
And Kentucky, as we all know,
Yeah.
sort of had some Confederate leanings.
Yeah. And Harlan Sanders wasn't a colonel at that time. I think
No,
he was just a second lieutenant.
Second lieutenant.
Coming up in the ranks.
Coming up.
All right, so right now we're on our trek from the 8th and 4th Ohio markers down Long Lane. Not long for a street, not to be confused with General Long Street, but kind of long for a lane. Pick up on the other side of
long.
it. For a lane,
For a lane.
but not for a street.
Not for a street.
Wouldn't call it Long Street.
It's kind of wide. as
long
well.
road. Yeah. Why don't they call it wide lane?
Yeah, they should.
For a lane, it's both long and wide. It's a fucking street.
That's Johns Avenue.
It's like
you know
medium-
you know what's
medium
on
street.
that avenue.
Oh, Johns. that's where the tricks pick up the Johns. Yeah. Come down to Johns and
True
Lane.
story. 1865.
Get you an HJ.
Started. Get
Yeah.
you an old fashioned.